So Visa and American Express are often thought of in the same context by American consumers. They both issue credit cards. That's the big reason. A lot of people just think of them as credit card issuers. But there's a lot more, there's a lot of difference between the two. Visa is a payment network. Its job is to move money from one point to the other. But it kind of connects merchants, banks, and customers financially. It doesn't actually loan any money. On the other hand, American Express is technically a bank. They're what's called a closed loop payment network. They do that payment processing, moving the money around like Visa does on a smaller scale, if we're being fair. But they also are the actual lender. When I swipe my American Express card, American Express is the one that is paying the bill. It's their money, and that I have to pay back. Whereas with Visa, it's whatever bank actually issues a credit card. I have a Visa card issued by Citibank, so they're the ones actually lending the money. There's a lot of other differences between these two businesses in terms of risk and reward, and growth potential and things like that. Tyler, what are your thoughts on the Visa versus Amex debate for investors?
Uh, it really is kind of, uh, pick your flavor, because I think in both senses you can find a, a convincing argument for one or the other. Like you said, with American Express kind of housing a little bit of that debt obligation that versus Visa, which just gets the swipe fee, there is a little bit more credit risk involved. However, if you kind of think about the clientele for American Express, it tends to be a higher income client, and to a certain degree, a more credit worthy client. And so as a result, the fears of huge loan losses or things like that, or non-payments, are not super significant. Um, but if that is if something that you're legitimately concerned of, because I don't know, recession coming or something like that, that could be something to turn you off. But at the same time, American Express also has the fees, or the fee business, for some of its higher priced cards. You look at it, something like that, and a bulk of its earnings actually comes more from the annual membership fees, than it does from the swipe fees and a lot of the housing of that credit risk. They want to keep it in-house because that membership fee is so attractive for them. Now, and then, my last point, if you're looking at these two stocks right now, there's a lot of reasons you may want to say, well, maybe American Express is the better investment right now. Forward earnings estimates for American Express has in about 14 times earnings. And if I did my math correctly, before we got on the show, it's trading for about 8 times free cash flow. So by comparison, Visa is about 25 times forward earnings, and I don't have the cash flow multiple of the names right now, excuse me. But you kind of combine those things together, and a rather significant cash position at American Express. Granted, it's for credit losses, but it is a huge cash position that may be larger than necessary. And you kind of combine all those things, and you say maybe American Express is the better value right now.
Um, you know, it, there's a reason for the difference in valuation. There's a big difference in cyclicality between the two. For the most part, Visa doesn't really care if a recession's coming. They get their swipe fees. They don't have to worry about people defaulting. They could see a decline in consumer spending of a few percent, which is common in recessions, but they're not going to have to worry about billion-dollar credit losses like you alluded to with Amex's reserves. So there's a reason for the difference. I own Amex out of the two, so I clearly believe it's the better value right now. I think it's a really compelling opportunity right now, but I also believe that Amex is likely to be more of a roller coaster ride than Visa over the next year or so. Once again, thank you so much for joining me. Be sure to click subscribe if you don't subscribe to my channel already. And as always, this video is sponsored by The Motley Fool. Be sure to visit www.fool.com/Frankel to receive the top 10 best stocks to buy now.